Minister Zafrul, thank you for speaking with CGTN. Malaysia is hosting the landmark ASEAN-GCC-China Summit. The World Bank says the three sides had a combined GDP of over $23 trillion in 2023, accounting for more than 22% of global GDP that year. So how do you think this summit marks a new chapter of strategic cooperation, especially given the current economic and political climate?
Yes, thank you very much. Definitely, what we've seen and witnessed today is very important. This is the first ever ASEAN-GCC-China Summit. And the main focus of the summit it has been really talking about how ASEAN and GCC and China can together work on each sectors or issues like investments and trade. But at the same time, we also reiterated our position that we feel that more work can be done. I mean, you mentioned about the size of the GDP of these two blocks and one economy, and you talked about this kind of potential. You talked about investment as well. So these are areas. And we have talked as well about areas like digital economy. We talk about the green economy. We talk about being more inclusive, looking at micro and small medium enterprises as well. And we also talked a bit about on supply chain.
China and ASEAN have just concluded negotiations on version 3.0 of the China-ASEAN Free Trade Area. How do you think this will contribute to deeper regional economic integration and bring tangible benefits to their people?
Yes. We just concluded the negotiations for the ASEAN-China Trade in Goods and Agreement, the FTA as well, basically, ASEAN-China FTA, where this is the third version, the third upgrade, but includes new chapters. And basically chapters talking about sustainability, on green economy, on green technology, and also putting in a chapter on digital, putting a chapter as well on ensuring that the small, medium enterprises are also included, supply chain, and also we upgraded some of the current existing chapters. And we're quite excited by these new chapters. But what's important is that, ASEAN is now China's largest trading partner as well, right? China has always been ASEAN's largest trading partner. And what we've seen is that the last 1 year especially, we also seen quite a big increase in trade between ASEAN and China. And not talking about trade, China has been a major investor in ASEAN as well. So we hope that the upgrade of the ASEAN-China FTA will not just improve trade, but also increase investments in the region.
China has been Malaysia's largest trading partner for 16 consecutive years, with trade volume reaching a record high of over $212 billion last year. The two nations signed more than 30 bilateral cooperation agreements last month, many of which concern trade and investment. So how do you plan to implement these agreements?
Yes. We are monitoring this very closely. We have the one-stop center we call it the Invest Malaysia Facilitation Center, or IMFC, which works together with all the other various agencies and the relevant ministries and states as well. And we work closely with our counterpart in China. In fact, they are tracking it as well, the companies that have announced their investments in Malaysia. The success rate has been very high. Typically, when we monitor, it's close to 85% success rate of execution. Of course, it takes time. This is not a capital market play. This is where you need to get the necessary approvals, but also the time to build the factory and bring the equipment, etc. So we are quite optimistic, and we've seen the track record. The track record has been around 85 to 87% success when it comes to execution of those projects that we have announced.
Now, China is also Malaysia's second largest source of foreign direct investment. What do you think attracts Chinese investors to Malaysia, and what areas do you see further investment and economic cooperation?
Yes. We have seen various sectors. In fact, if you look at investments from China into Malaysia, it cuts across nearly all sectors. Cuts across the digital economy, talking about EV as well, when it comes to about sustainability, the green economy. We also look at other sectors. I mean, Malaysia, as you know, is in the E&E sector. It's one major, like a big component of our manufacturing base, and also one of our big exports is the E&E, and China is also quite important part of that supply chain. And finally, when you look at investments in other areas, including areas such as going downstream in chemicals, petrochemicals, etc. So it really covers a wide range of sectors. And what we want to see is that more investments coming into sectors that are with higher economic complexity, which will then bring Malaysia together with Chinese technology and Chinese companies going up the value chain.